A good friend of mine gave me his Nintendo Switch Pro controller so that I can take it apart, clean it, and hopefully get the stick drift to go away. So here we go into system settings. Then I'm going to run down into controllers and sensors and move that down into calibrate control sticks. And then we're just going to move to the side, the one that we want to test. Normally this is what it should look like. There's a plus sign here in the middle. But if I take this one and just kind of move it up and down and around and whatnot and recenter it, you notice how it's not coming back exactly to the center. It's just kind of wobbling there. It's not giving me the plus sign. That's telling me there's some dirt or something inside of this stick that's making it not register completely. When you're playing a game, that little bit of play can be really frustrating. So let's take this apart, clean it really well, put it back together, and see if we can get that to go away just by cleaning it. These are my favorite controllers by far. I love playing with them. I like taking apart and working with them. They're really well designed. You can see the grime that builds up in the handles because there's so much contact there with your hands. Here we also have some of that skin flake deposit. Battery looks good. I need to use the screwdriver that I stole from Steve to get inside of here. I'm just going to pry this apart. I want to be careful when pulling these apart not to just rip them apart because there is a cable that's connecting the two sides. So we'll just get in here and release this, and then we can work on each half of the controller at a time. These just pull up and off. Now this is as far as I would need to take it apart if I were just trying to get rid of my drift issue by cleaning inside of there. So you can get your BW100 or other contact cleaner. You would spray it down inside of there a little bit. It doesn't matter if you use too much. And then just wiggle it around, move it back and forth, kind of work it in there. Then I would take it, give it another application, spray it in there, wiggle it around, move it, just try to get everything cleaned up inside of there that way. And that's as far as you need to go to put it back together, try it, and see if that got rid of the issue. But of course, we want to clean it, so we're going to continue taking this apart, and so we can do an entire deep clean of this controller. Some hair stuck on there. I feel like there was a better way to do that, and I'll probably get comments about that. I'll figure it out before I put it back together. These rumble packs are held down by double-sided sticky tape, so we can just kind of wiggle them. There's a spot here where I'm going to push underneath to release them a little bit. And then we're just going to move them back and forth, and these should come out. I do love how I can get these out of here with the motherboard without having to desolder and then resolder them, putting it back together. There we go. Let's set this motherboard aside. Oh, that tape didn't stick there. We'll just get that back on the rumble pack. Okay, we have everything off, and I found this little light piece. We'll figure that out when putting it back together. Carefully take those ribbon cables out. These just kind of snap under and out and off, and we can get all of these silicone pads removed. Carefully, I don't want to tear them. This shoulder button comes out with a pin that you pull out, and then we'll be able to get those ones out. Just pull those through. Now I'm not going to take this cable out because it's glued on and I don't want to have to re-glue it and reattach it. So we'll just clean this separately without soaking it with the rest of the pieces in the soapy water. A couple of screws gets us this board. And this will be nice and satisfying to clean. Yep. Get the last buttons out of here. And there we have it, the other half of our shell. We're just going to clean as much of the visible surface gunk on the outside of these things as possible before we spray them with the BW100. Okay. So here we go. We're just going to put some of this down in there. BW100 is very fast evaporating, so I'm not worried about the liquid getting on the board. It'll run down off of here and it's not going to stay long enough to cause any damage. So there we work it around good. Now Steve just got me this thing to try out. It's an electronic air gun. Instead of going through so many cans of air, we're trying it out. I think it worked pretty well. These actually had just over an hour or so to soak while I was doing the other stuff. And most of the dirt that was on here just kind of came off that way. So we're going to clean it still with our paintbrush and toothbrush. Get them as nice and clean as possible so that when we put this controller back together, it feels like new. All right, let's put it back together. I made sure to put my double-sided sticky tape back underneath this pack. That is where the little light bar goes. Then I'm going to put this button back inside of here, making sure that button is sticking out. And that goes there. We can see both the button and the indicator light flush with the surface, which is what we want. I want to make sure not to pinch my ribbon cable. I really wanted this to be a nice, clean, easy video, but I need to show you something here. I ended up having to retake this apart after giving it its first off-camera test. Here, this is our right joystick, and that's what it should look like. Our left joystick has a piece here that is sticking off to the side. I would love for this one to have been fixed with the clean, but unfortunately, no amount of cleaning is going to take care of brokenness. And this one is broken. So it is possible to entirely take this assembly apart and re-put a different piece on there, but that little bit of soldering is a little bit beyond my comfort zone with my level of soldering experience. So I'm going to hand this off to Steve, who said he'd be happy to take care of this part of the project for me so that we can complete the video and hopefully have a controller that fully works at the end of it. This was supposed to be a nice, easy project to help me get ahead a little bit this week. We think we have it working now. Let's test it to make sure. Okay, everything seems to be working now how it's supposed to. It's snapping back nice and stiff to the center position, holding there really good. It has its full range each way. It was not that easy to get it that way. We think what happened is while Steve was working on it, he may have gotten a little bit too much flux down inside. It required me to actually spend about a half an hour continuing to put BW100 in there and turning it around and cleaning it and trying it again. We actually also needed to go through the calibrate section here and reset everything, including turning around our analog stick with the faceplate off in order to be able to register all the way to the edges. Eventually, this analog joystick started working the way it's supposed to, but I'm not 100% convinced. So even though I'm going to end this week's video right now, I'm going to take this home and let my kids play with it for the weekend. Let's see if it lasts until Monday. Thanks for sticking with me through the video, and I hope that when you try to get rid of your drift issue, it's a lot easier.